7 modes. General description. Mode is one of the most visible shells because it defines the basic means of expression. It is a mode of action, a means to an end chosen. Our regimen is how we live, for example, passionately, cautiously, aggressively. The mode affects the nature of the individual, how he manipulates the world and how others perceive him. The slipping phenomenon is most noticeable in modes. Passion and restraint, inspiration modes. Passion. Passion, an exalted mode of inspiration, gives the personality a tendency to strong emotional reactions. People of passion live with energy and enthusiasm. They are open and sociable. People of passion learn to deal with self-identification, as they tend to lose their sense of reality in the heat of emotion and passion. Many mature souls operate on the negative side of the passionate regime, believing that the current situation is the only real one. People of passion show a direct reaction to emerging situations, without trying to somehow review and analyze the larger picture and restrain their emotions. Representatives of the passionate regime are spontaneous and are bad at hiding their intentions and feelings. People of passion inspire those around them with their ability to enjoy the moment and enthusiasm, as if telling them, "Let's do it." At the positive pole, passion becomes self-realization, that is, the ability to realize one's ambitions. Passionate people slip into containment when they feel the need to suppress their emotions. Positive pole. Self-realization, fulfillment, recreation, spontaneity, liveliness, enthusiasm, openness, emotionality, participation, drama. Negative pole. Loss of self-identification, taking part for whole, emotional shifts and traumas, inability to think clearly. Containment. Containment, the ordinary mode of inspiration, is used for cleansing, polishing, and cultivating. This is one of the most difficult modes, as the individual must express his emotions in a subtle or limited way. Some do this by linking their lives with the field of culture, others by directly engaging in art, ballet, music, poetry. At the same time, gross emotions are purified and sublimated. People who are committed to restraint are usually fine connoisseurs of beauty. Restraint is the opposite of passion in the sense that it masks immediate responses. This is the reason for the stiffness of the behavior of people in the containment regime. They feel uncomfortable in the company of those who express their emotions rudely and unworthily. The people of the containment regime are usually polite and decent. Their behavior is not extravagant. Restraint is usually chosen as a compensation for the extravagance of past lives or out of a desire for elegance. This mode may outwardly look like a discrimination mode. In containment, there is an element of internal improvement, while in discrimination there is a selection of external objects. At the negative pole, containment looks like stiffness and inability to express emotions. Positive pole. Restraint, grace, self-improvement, self-control, sublimity, nobility, civilization, culture, taste. Negative pole. Stiffness, constraint, tightness, impossibility of action, doubts, depression. Power and caution, modes of expression. Force. This is the most visible regime, as its members exude an aura of power and authority, whether they realize it or not. When a power mode man enters the room, everyone notices his arrival. The same can be said about the other mode of expression. About caution, although the representatives of the ordinary regime are characterized by a greater, inward orientation. Strength is always associated with relationships with others. Thus, a person of this regime achieves his goals with help of his authority. Strength is more vulgar than dominance, although the two are often confused. Dominance operates through a system of special goals and methods. The force affects everyone and everything. It is difficult to hide it. The dominator says, "Here's how I can manipulate the situation to get what I want." The man of power says, "I am in control of the situation, and she herself will give what I need." At the positive pole, strength is expressed in authority. For example, one can turn to its representatives for advice. At the negative pole, power overwhelms and inconveniences those around you. When a representative of this regime is in a bad mood or dissatisfied, it is noticeable to everyone around. His emotions become obvious to everyone. Positive pole. Authority, competence, influence, the ability to be the person to whom they turn for help, self-confidence, energy, control over the situation. Negative pole. Suppression, dominance, intimidation, unconditional authority, a tendency to covertly or overtly manipulate people. Caution. Caution, like strength, is on the axis of expression and is easily felt on the physical level. The motto of caution, measure 7 times. The people of this regime are wary of life situations and prefer to know exactly what they are getting into. Often they tend to think that improvements are always preceded by crises. In many cases, caution is chosen by an entity who, over several previous lives, has become convinced that reckless actions can be dangerous. In this sense, caution is the opposite of the regime of passion. On the positive pole of caution is thoughtfulness of actions. On the negative side, causeless fears and phobias. A cautious person may slip into force when he knows the situation and feels it might be safer to use force. For a cautious person, slipping into power can be a very effective way to achieve a goal, since others are not used to seeing a cautious person at the helm of power and cannot resist his advancement. If we are in the company of a person in caution mode, you usually get the impression that he is afraid of something, and the reasons for his fear are unclear. The cautious ones can make those around them shy, spreading subtle vibes of fear. People begin to unwittingly reflect this fear in their behavior. Positive pole. Prudence, caution, safety, quick recognition of danger, tact, diplomacy. Negative pole. Phobia, reckless fear, impossibility of action, feeling of hopelessness and confusion. Aggression and perseverance, modes of action. Aggression. Aggression and persistence are on the action axis and therefore manifest themselves in behavior rather than through feelings or thoughts. On the positive pole of aggression is dynamism, or the active pursuit of life goals. The people of the aggressive regime are ready to take action when everyone else gives up. They are often noisy and noticeable. The personality of such people is often inconvenient for others. Aggression can also be more subtle. In this case, we see only that the individual is more ready to embody his beliefs than the representatives of all other regimes. On the positive pole of aggressiveness is dynamism, action orientation, and activity in achieving personal goals. At the negative pole, a person can be belligerent, quarrelsome, and insensitive to the condition of other people. At the negative pole, there is practically nothing before which the aggressor would stop. Militantly pursuing his goal, an aggressive person does not think about the logic of his actions or the real danger associated with them. People in this regime can achieve a lot if they use their energy productively. A person who was too passive in previous lives can learn to be more assertive through aggression. But she can also get into trouble with those around her because of her arrogance, manipulation, and intolerance. Positive pole. Dynamism, assertiveness, focus on action and achievement of goals, active life position, enthusiasm, ability to be a leader, energy. Negative pole. Militancy, arrogance, selfishness, obnoxiousness, violence. Persistence. Perseverance is chosen when an entity wants to create a personality characterized by endurance, high concentration on the set goals, and the ability to perform strategic tasks. Persistent people set goals for themselves and then take all the steps necessary to complete them. Having started the movement, such a person enters into acceleration, and it can be difficult for him to stop, even if the set goal ceases to mean something. This mode is often chosen in conjunction with motor centering. In comparison, for example, with a mode of passion, persistence seems dull, boring, although passionate people usually like those qualities in persistent people that they themselves lack: endurance and perseverance. Assertiveness can slip into aggressiveness to appear more dynamic and assertive. On the negative side, persistence can be pushy, stubborn, unwilling to back down even when circumstances have made it inappropriate. Although perseverance can lead a person through a series of long and painful karmas, it is difficult to get rid of the karma with it, even when it has already been completed. Because it is a mode of action, persistent people often form habits or addictions that they find difficult to break. Perseverance gives acceleration and constancy, but with it is difficult to change the direction of movement once chosen. Positive pole. Perseverance, endurance, purposefulness, the ability to carry out strategic tasks, the ability to bring things to the end. Negative pole. Immutability, stubbornness, lack of spontaneity, inertia, dependence. Observation, neutral mode. Surveillance is the most frequently chosen mode. The advantage of observation is that it allows you to think about your actions, to plan them, and also that from it we can slip into any other mode. We can use observation to assess the situation, and then any of the other modes to practically deal with it. Human observers form favorite regimes to which they most often slip. Since observation is the neutral mode, and since the mode is the most obvious of all shells, the human observer can be immediately noticed. He seems to be very humble, calm, and somewhat absent-minded until he slips into another mode to communicate with those around him. The observer appears somewhat aloof and passive, absorbing the energy of his surroundings rather than engaging in communication. Observation is often paired with intelligence centering. If it is combined with other neutral shells, such a person can be very passive. Positive pole. Clarity, self-awareness, mindfulness, receptivity, contemplation, neutrality. Negative pole. Meticulousness, pickiness, detachment, passivity, secrecy.